Level 1. The believer. You don't start as a leader. You start as a follower. You find a group. Small, passionate. People who feel like the world never understood them. You feel it too. That specific loneliness of someone who thinks differently and has nowhere to put it. You sit in circles, you listen, you nod, you share things about yourself carefully, just enough to belong, not enough to be vulnerable. But something bothers you about the person running these meetings. Their answers are shallow. Their presence is ordinary. Their authority is borrowed, not earned. You could do this better. That thought arrives quietly. You don't examine it too closely, you just keep showing up, keep watching, keep learning how belief works from the inside. Level 2. The preacher. You start speaking. Not loudly, not dramatically. You ask questions in group settings that make people think the answer came from themselves. You offer observations that feel like revelations. You have studied enough psychology, philosophy, and spiritual language to sound like all three simultaneously. People lean forward when you talk. That is the first sign. You are not saying anything new. You are saying familiar things in an unfamiliar way. That is the entire skill. Take what people already feel and reflect it back to them with enough precision that it feels like prophecy. The group leader notices, not with admiration, with concern. You have already passed him without trying. Level 3. The recruiter. You leave the group, some people follow. Not many, 7. But 7 people who chose you over an established structure tells you something important. Loyalty transferred is stronger than loyalty built from scratch. You start small gatherings, living rooms, community halls, you don't charge anything yet. Free access builds trust faster than any sales pitch. You develop your message. Not religious necessarily. Something wider. A framework for understanding why the world feels wrong and how your particular insight corrects it. Every good cult needs a problem only the leader can solve. You find yours, people start bringing friends. Word moves the way it always moves through lonely people. By month 4 you have 43 regular attendees. You have not asked anyone for anything yet. That comes next. Level 4. The controller. You introduce structure. Membership levels, inner circle and outer circle. Access tiers. The outer circle attends meetings. The inner circle gets your personal time, your private teachings, your direct guidance. Everyone wants to be in the inner circle. You make them earn it. Not through money yet, through behavior, through demonstrated loyalty. Through small acts of separation from their outside lives, less time with old friends, more time with the group. It happens gradually, so no one notices the pattern. You introduce the concept of outside interference. People who don't understand the group's mission. Family members who ask too many questions. Friends who seem skeptical. You frame these people as threats to personal growth. Not enemies, just obstacles. The distinction keeps people comfortable while doing the same work. Your inner circle now has 12 people. They would do almost anything you suggested. You have not tested that yet, but you know it. Level 5. The Isolator. The group moves in together. Not all of them. The inner circle. A property outside the city. Enough land for privacy, enough distance for control. You frame it as community, intentional living. An experiment in genuine human connection away from the noise of modern life. Everyone agrees enthusiastically. They came up with the idea themselves. You suggested it so carefully, they believe that outside contact reduces. Not banned. Just discouraged. Phone use becomes a group conversation topic. Outside media introduces negative energy. Family visits require preparation and are always supervised. The group develops its own language. Now internal terms for concepts. Phrases only members understand. Shared language creates shared identity. Shared identity creates loyalty that feels like love. Members begin signing over financial contributions, voluntarily, gratefully, for the mission. You now control where they live, what they eat, who they speak to, and what they believe. You call it liberation. Level 6. The Deity. They stop seeing you as a teacher, you let that happen. Slowly, you never claim divinity directly. You simply stop correcting people who suggested it. A direct claim can be challenged. An implication allowed to grow becomes belief, and belief held collectively becomes fact inside the group's reality. Your word is final on all matters now. Relationships within the group require your approval. Major life decisions are brought to you first. Members report each other's doubts to maintain group purity. You didn't build this system, you allowed it to build itself. People who need total certainty will always construct the architecture of their own control if you give them the right foundation. Monthly contributions from members $47,000. You don't call it money, you call it offering. The difference is only language. Language is everything. Level 7. The exploiter. The financial structure formalized some time ago without anyone naming it clearly. Members' work. Income goes into group accounts. Group accounts fund the mission is defined by you. The definition changes when necessary. You live differently from the members. Better food, private space, separate arrangements. When questioned, you explain that leadership requires different conditions to function effectively. The group accepts this. Several members have cut off families completely, signed over inheritance, left careers. The outside world has become genuinely foreign to them. Return feels impossible, so they stop considering it. You have not forced anyone to stay. You never have. The architecture of belief you constructed makes leaving feel like self-destruction. That is more effective than any lock. New members still join. The outer circle remains unaware of inner circle conditions. The outer circle is the recruitment pipeline. This is deliberate. You think about scale sometimes, what this looks like with 500 members. With 1,000, then one member leaves, and talks. Level 8, the Untouchable. The first article is small. Local publication. Former member describes psychological manipulation and financial control. You respond calmly publicly, with practiced sadness about a troubled individual who struggled within the community and chose to reframe their experience negatively. Several current members write supportive responses. They do this without being asked. The article disappears quickly, but journalists don't disappear. They follow threads. A second former member speaks. Then a third. Their accounts are consistent in ways that matter to investigators. Consistency is the difference between a story and a case. You consult with a lawyer. The lawyer is expensive and has handled similar situations before. He advises calm and silence and careful documentation of everything the group does publicly. Your inner circle tightens. Doubters are identified and quietly removed before they become sources. You frame each removal as the individual choosing to leave. The remaining members accept this framing because accepting it is easier than the alternative. You have survived this before. You tell yourself that with complete confidence. Level 9, the exposed. The documentary changes everything. 3 months of filming, former members, financial records obtained through legal channels, recorded conversations from someone inside who is already cooperating. You watch it alone. All 4 hours. It is precise, it is calm, it is devastating. Within 72 hours, 3 former members file civil suits. A federal investigation opens into financial practices. 2 current members leave without explanation. The property receives journalists at the gate daily. Your lawyer advises you not to speak publicly. You speak publicly anyway. The statement is careful and controlled and changes nothing. The story has its own momentum now. Donations stop. New recruitment stops. Inner circle members begin having conversations you are no longer included in. For the first time in years, you are not the center of the information. That feeling is unfamiliar, and it arrives with a specific kind of fear that all your practice calm cannot fully suppress. Level 10, the fallen. The legal process takes 2 years. Civil settlements. Criminal charges on financial counts. The property sold to cover costs, members dispersed. Some return to families, some find other groups, some find nothing, and consider that an improvement. You are convicted on 3 counts. The sentence is manageable. Your lawyer is very good. But the name is permanent, now searchable. Attached to specific words in specific articles that will exist longer than you will. You think about the first meeting sometimes. The circle of people who felt unseen. You understood that feeling genuinely. That part was never performance. Somewhere that original impulse and the structure you built around it diverged. You could not tell you exactly when. The line between belief and control is thinner than most people want to acknowledge. You don't rebuild. There is nowhere to rebuild toward. You live quietly now. Small, careful, watched. The believers are gone. What remains is just a person who understood people very well and used that understanding in a direction that only ever had one ending. You knew that. Somewhere early on, you knew.